Welcome to this explainer. Look, we are about to step completely out of the honest world and enter a massive illegal megastructure built right into the bones of an abandoned industrial district. Officially, this place doesn't even exist. Your GPS? Yeah, that stopped working about 3 miles ago. So grab your backpack, channel that nervous energy, and let's explore exactly what it takes to climb the ranks of this hidden high-stakes metropolis.
So you might be wondering, why would anyone willingly seek out this shadow underground in the first place? Well, it usually starts with the mundane stuff. Utter boredom, mounting debt, and this creeping realization that legitimate success is just a one-way crawl toward a life you never actually wanted. Whether you're a frustrated student or some brilliant coder, you're searching for a place where the laws of the surface are just, suggestions. A place where your identity is nothing more than ones and zeros. Okay, let's dive into the mechanics here. To survive in this incredibly clinical, high-stakes game of logistics, you really have to understand the currency of the realm. It's not just cash, it's information. More importantly, it's about finding these software glitches. These are the hidden exploits in the system's rules. If you can pinpoint these glitches, you can literally create value out of thin air to fuel your climb up the criminal ladder. So, we're gonna simulate your ascension right through the 5 distinct levels of this underground hierarchy: the scavenger, the street broker, the logistics chief, the sector governor, and finally, the mayor of the shadows.
All right, let's kick things off right at the absolute bottom, level 1, the scavenger.
Down here in the mud, you are definitely not a high roller. Honestly, you're barely even a person to the higher-ups. Your boots are held together by duct tape and hope, and you're essentially invisible furniture, just fetching copper wire and abandoned tech from the dead zones for the big players. And here's the brutal reality of this level: 14. That is the number of hours a day you spend grueling away in the dark. And you do all of this for a tiny fraction of the reward, just desperately trying to scrape together enough credits for a meal and a bunk in a room you're sharing with 5 other guys. Plus, you're being watched every single second. The bosses behind the glass walls are watching to see if you actually have the discipline to keep your mouth shut.
Now, assuming you pass that test, you move up. Level 2, the street broker. You proved you can stay quiet under surveillance, so you finally get to trade the mud for a shiny suit. You're done pulling wire. Your whole job now is the hustle. You're managing the flow of restricted data through the back alleys. You're running card games, and honestly, you start to feel pretty important. But there is a massive catch. It's called the tax. Every single Friday, without fail, you have to hand over a fat envelope of your earnings to the senior lead who brought you in. It's an incredibly strict system of loyalty. Try to hide even a single rounding error from that envelope, and you're stealing from the family. And in this city, thieves either get quote-unquote reformatted, or they just disappear entirely. No exceptions. Survive the streets, and you graduate to level 3, the logistics chief. This is where the game fundamentally shifts. You trade the baseball bat for a laptop, leave the street cred behind, and dive headfirst into straight-up accounting gymnastics. You are now an architect of shadow logistics. Your entire day is spent managing front companies, we're talking trucking firms and waste disposal sites, all designed to hide the city's money. You're setting up 8 different totally empty LLCs in places like Wyoming and Delaware. You're zipping funds from Cyprus over to Panama. The whole goal is to make dirty credits dance through these shell companies until the money is literally a ghost, completely invisible to the feds up on the surface. Master those logistics, and you break into the inner circle. Level 4, the sector governor.
You aren't in the back alleys anymore, and you certainly aren't stuck behind a laptop in some basement. You're now standing on a high-rise balcony looking out over this sprawling illegal grid that you personally helped build. Just look at the insane contrast here. As a scavenger, you were literally in the mud with duct tape on your boots, doing invisible labor. Now, high-rise balconies and glass wall private clinics. You do not touch the grime anymore. Instead, you manage insulation. You know exactly which police associates are going to file the right reports without ever asking uncomfortable questions. But to maintain that level of insulation and power, you need an absolute army. Specifically, a dedicated staff of 63 people. We're talking entire IT crews, heavy security details, personal assistants. It takes exactly that many people to keep your sector of the machine humming along so perfectly that it feels less like a criminal enterprise and way more like a pristine luxury compound. And then, finally, we reach the summit. Level 5, the Mayor of the Shadows. You've reached the absolute
apex of the Shadow City. As the undeniable supreme boss, you operate on a level most people can't even fathom. You are, quite literally, a ghost who never touches a single credit. You are so insulated from physical transactions that you haven't actually walked down a real city street in 20 years. Yet, your power is absolute. You can just whisper an order in a room and a rival boss will completely disappear 3 days later. It's staggering.
But what does your actual day-to-day life look like up here? Sure, you sit behind 7 massive screens displaying the city's vast portfolio of assets. But despite all that unfathomable wealth and influence, your physical reality is standing completely alone in an empty 60-seat home theater at 3 a.m.
Which brings us to the terrifying twist of your whole ascension. The illusion is that you have supreme power over this perfect world built for the elite. But the reality? You're a prisoner. You are trapped in a golden cage of your own making. In that dark theater, the only sound you hear is the mechanical whir of your own security cameras tracking your every movement. They follow you when you move, and they only stop when you stop. Absolute power has basically just equated to absolute isolation.
And that leads us to the final realization. The twist, the ultimate price of power.
The paranoia at this stage is absolutely all-consuming. You find yourself checking your own luxury car for trackers every single morning. You're swapping out your burner phone every week. Why? Because you are the only person alive who knows where every single digital body is buried. By successfully building this flawless, insulated underworld, you've erased your own human identity. You become the very, very expensive loose end. You know too much, which makes you the biggest liability of all to the very system you govern. This is the crushing realization of Level 5. You thought you were the undisputed king of the underground, right? Pulling all the strings? But in the end, you've completely lost your free will. You aren't the player anymore. You are literally just a number being moved to a different column on someone else's spreadsheet. You are nothing more than a pawn in a much, much darker simulation. As we wrap up this explainer on the golden cages of the global elite, I want to leave you with a thought. We've seen this incredible climb from the mud to the penthouse and that terrifying isolation waiting at the top. So, drop a comment below and let us know. If you were the mayor of the shadows, what's the first quote-unquote rounding error you'd buy for your city? Think about it, drop your answer, and I'll see you in the next simulation.